So we have quite a bit of things going on today. We have, I'm going to show you a quick demonstration on stress and finance, and then I will turn it over to Matthew shortly.
Sounds
So,
good. Sounds good.
so today we have here, I have, once again, I promise you this is my last week of using a water bottle. Maybe not, never know. Is that I have my lovely water bottle here that kind of represents who we are. This is water filled. Is it showing that this is a lot of stress that we're going through? We're building up a lot of stress. And I have my needle here to kind of show that this can represent the different supports that we can get. Like for example, like I mentioned, this United Way 211. There is the financial stress.
Careful.
I know I'm trying to get away. And then I'm trying to what else is there? There is the support of your family, the support of your friends, the of of any services that may be. It could be employment services, it can be a church, it could be a community office, it could be your local government office, whoever may be that you need to talk to. And so when we start talking to people, our stresses, as we can see, will likely do it so it doesn't splash everywhere. It kind of starts pouring out to kind of drain out some of this stress. Let's see if we get it.
Yep.
So yeah, so let me move this side so I don't get all over the equipment. But yeah, so definitely just want to kind of share with you a quick demonstration what stress, getting that support that
Mhm.
when we communicate, when we talk to somebody, when we need help, when it comes to our financial stress, it start with having a conversation. And like I said, is whenever you may feel that you don't know where next to go to, and you may have that question, just feel free to reach out to me at talk to Stacy at gmail.com and reach out to me, and I can try my best to see if I can help you go to where the next you need to go for that support. And also, Matthew going to leave his contact information after his segment. But just to let you know a little bit about Matthew Altman, he is the agent of change, which
Yes.
which he's all about, because if we can't be our own agent, who's going to be our agent? Who's going to represent us? Who's going to advocate for us? Who's going to see that we need to change something? So we're going to listen into Matthew Allman about how he is the agent of change. All right, you
Thanks,
take it over,
Stacy.
Matthew.
Oh my gosh. Buttering me up like bread today. Um,
Hey,
what can I say? But honestly, but yeah, honestly, you're 100% correct. When we're looking at stress, especially financial stress. Yes, we do need that support system. We do need people in our corner to help us navigate that, right? And and again, you hit the nail on the head. Is that communication that we're lacking, right? I've been a financial advisor now for the better part of the last 7 years, and like the one thing that I've come up against, no matter who I'm sitting with, no matter who I'm helping out, um, you know, they don't really they don't feel comfortable talking about their finances initially, and that's one of a few reasons why. They feel that they're okay, and they don't want anybody up in their business, which is understandable. Or they might feel kind of embarrassed that they're not where they want to be, or they haven't even started to get where they need to be, and they don't want to share that. um or it could just be that they're just scared to find help, like they're stuck in a rut, and they don't know kind of what steps to take, or who to trust, or who to reach out to. So what I do, as an agent of change, as the agent of change, is to have that conversation, and what I do is exactly that. It's just a conversation. Just being able to take a deep dive into somebody's financial situation, kind of see where they're at, and come up with some recommendations, some tips and tricks, and just some relevant information to help them get to the next level, right? um the one thing I always tell everybody, it doesn't matter where you start at, and it doesn't necessarily matter where you are right now, because whatever you did to get where you are right now, you at least did something, right? And that should by no means feel bad or embarrassed at the fact that you tried to do something that was in your best interest financially. So that's the first thing I always articulate to anybody that I help out. But when we're talking about financial stress, and specifically, like how it applies to people, I look at how, like, kind of how it applies to me, and I like one story I always share with all my clients. Um, you'll understand this too, Stacey, because we have similar upbringings. Like for me, and my dad all too well. Like growing up, my dad would always hammer home without fail. Matthew, you gotta save for rainy day. Save for rainy day. I heard that for like the better part of my childhood, my teenage years. It got to the point for me, I'm like, okay, so how does one necessarily save for rainy day? It's not like I could go to a bank and say, hey, I like to save for rainy day. They'll look at you sideways and be like, we can open a savings account for you, but that's about it. Unfortunately, when it comes to financial stress, there's not a lot of information being provided. There's a lot of information out there, but that information is almost seemingly hoarded, right? Um, like I remember, I want like when I was young, I wanted a cell phone. I was 15, around 15, 16. I wanted a cell phone. Beg my dad for a cell phone. No. Beg my mom for a cell phone. No. You have to go earn it yourself. So at the time I didn't have a job, right? So the first thing I did, I went to go get a job. I was working part time. I was working at a restaurant called Licks. Um, shout
Veggie
out to
burgers.
anybody in
French
Southern
fries.
Ontario who remembers Licks back in the day. Worked at Licks, and I'm proud to say. But no, I worked at Licks. I worked at I went to school full time. Worked to Licks, worked part time, and I made enough money, and I bought myself a cell phone. But a funny thing about buying a cell phone, it comes with a little thing called a cell phone bill that you gotta pay every month. So I would use my phone for a month, and then the the next day comes after the next month comes, and I'm like, my cell phone's not working. Well, gotta pay for that bill. So again, gotta work hard, gotta work hard, gotta work hard. Make enough money, okay, pay the bill. And again, it was a repetitive cycle. Like I'm a like and this was before smartphones too. So like I mean, I had this like little dinky Kyocera phone that I always wanted. It was like it was like top of the line back in the day.
The one with the snake game.
Yep, the one with the snake. Yeah, you know the one. Like that was the pinnacle of technology back in the day. Like I didn't have a need for like a BlackBerry back in the day, so like or a Palm Pilot. Those were also huge. But I get it. I wanted this phone, but again, it was just the stress of having to maintain it month in, month out. And I'm only 16, right? So again, when we're older, right, there's a lot of stress put on top of that, right? And for anybody who's watching, maybe this will relate to you. You could be, you could be married, you could have kids. Um, you might be stepping into a new into a new home, and paying mortgage. Or if you're not, or if you don't own your home, you might be paying market rent, which is like paying for a mortgage if you live in Toronto. In the
More than
GTA,
mortgage,
like
exactly.
market rent is like is basically, you might as well be paying for a mortgage, you know, and your debts are high, so your stress level is high, and when and when you're dealing with these stress points, right? You know, you have to have an outlet. You have to understand how to better prepare yourself financially. A lot of people don't take this into account. All they see is money comes in, money goes out. Money comes in, money goes out. There's no, okay, well, I have all this money coming in, I have all this money coming out. What do I do? Like, how do I manage this? So the first thing, when I sit with somebody and I have a conversation with them, the first thing, I before I even get to anything, I'm like, okay, let me show you how money works financially. And I go through that same process. I let them know, when we're younger, right? We do have all these responsibilities. We do have all these stresses, you know? So if our income was compromised in any way, or worst case scenario, um, if we took you out of the picture, right? Now your family is compromised, right? If you have like, I'm talking, and right now I'm talking to like anybody who's a parent, especially the single parents out there. If we took you out of the picture, who is taking care of your kids? What do you have set up to take care of your kids? You know, your need to make sure that you're set up financially, properly set up financially when we're younger, is crucial. It's vital, right? We want to make sure that we get you to a point where, when it's, 10, 15, 20, 25 years down the road, we're ready to kind of wind down, step into retirement, that, we at least have some, accumulated savings. Because our kids are grown, they're probably out of the house. Our debts are reduced, our mortgage is all but paid off. So our stress level should be lower. But what I found is that, people are stressed out early in life, and unfortunately, because they don't know what directions to go in, when they're later in life, ready for retirement, they're they're still stressed out. They're still not set up the way they need to be set up, so they're still stressing, right? There was a survey done a few years back, and it was talking about people who were at age 65, looking at Canadians age 65, and a whopping 54% of them were still dependent on friends, family, or the government to live day by day. There was, like, it's a scary realization to think that, we work for the better part of our early lives, assuming that we start our careers around 2025. We work for 40-45 years of our life, and then when we get to retirement, we still we either gotta keep working, or we're physically unable to work, right? Because we're tired, and we're retired because we're tired, and we still have to figure out how to make ends meet. That is a scary proposition to consider. And then if you are able to work, people are still have to work. I mean, like Stacey, like I'm sure, like you have your daughter, right? I'm sure sometimes she wants to go to McDonald's, or you have her up, or you're going shopping with her at Walmart. You see it, like you see the late 60s, early 70-year-olds working at Walmart and McDonald's. They're
Yeah.
not there because they want to be. They're there because they have to. because they didn't do what they needed to do when they were younger. They didn't set themselves up properly financially because again, no one had this straight direct talk with them. So part of the challenge when dealing with financial stress is you have to understand that there's there's a conversation that you need to have with both yourself and somebody who can help you financially. And I get it. There's hundreds of thousands of different financial advisors across Canada. I get that. There's thousands of financial companies out across Canada as well. So who can we trust? Who's gonna help us? Who like first of all, where do we go, right? And again, going back to my experiences, right? Like, and this is not to really knock any organization or any banks, but like for me, growing up, my mom, about 12, 13 years ago, was diagnosed with breast cancer. So financially, that is stressful. Not that like that's stressful not only financially, but that's stressful in life generally. Because again, like a loved one's dealing with a major illness, like that rocks your world, and that definitely rocked my world, rocked my family's world. Like we were upended. I was working downtown on a Sunday, and my phone's in the office, and when I kind of go on a quick break, I'm looking at my phone. My phone's blowing up. My mom was calling me. My dad was calling me. My sister, who was living in Calgary at the time, was calling me multiple times. I call somebody. I'm like, "What's going on?" Like, and all I heard was, "Mom's in the hospital. She passed out. She was in. She needed to go to the hospital." I told everybody, "Hey, I'm gone. Gotta go to the hospital. My mom's in the hospital. I'm out." And because I worked out, like that subway ride was the longest and quickest subway ride possible. I get to the hospital. My mom is lying there, and I remember saying to myself, "I'm about to lose my mom." And I don't know what we're gonna do. Thankfully, my mom's still with us, and but what ended up happening though is a couple of things. We had to figure out how we are gonna pay for her meds because she didn't have, like any type of support, right? So, outside of the government support that was available for her, everything was out of pocket. To date, she's spent over maybe $80,000 to $90,000 out of pocket just to deal with both the medical and non-medical costs for that illness, which is again financially stressful. Like when you're not prepared for something like that financially, it like for those who know, for those who have friends and family who've gone through, you know, a major illness like cancer, like heart attack, like stroke, it can be financially draining. Like I know people who have mortgaged their houses to fight cancer. So these are things that you don't really want to have to deal with. So I remember like the day after my mom got out of the hospital, I was sitting in my room and I was like thinking to myself, you know what, Matt, I need me some life insurance. I like literally that was my thought process. It was like, just based off of kind of everything that went on and you know, everything that my mom was going through. It shook me enough to say, you know what, let me set myself up. Like no, I was 22 at the time, and I was thinking, and I was like, you know what, I'm old enough. Like I need to understand these things. Let me get myself life insurance. But the thing is, at the time, I knew nothing about life insurance. Huh, I was still of the mentality, save for rainy day, right? So, um, all I knew is like don't trust the banks when it comes to those kinds of things. That was the extent of my financial education. So, off a referral of a friend, I got myself some life insurance. Um, and as a 22-year-old, my insurance premium was $155.56. Now, to anybody who knows anything about life insurance, that is not a good deal for somebody who is single, low income, no assets to their name, has lots of money and liabilities. Oh, and yeah, I now have to financially take care of my mom. Yeah, that was not the best solution for me. But at the time, again, because I knew nothing about insurance, I'm thinking, okay, this is the best deal ever. But here's the thing, and again, this is I'm not mentioning any companies. The name of the company is irrelevant. But this is what caused the financial stress. Like when you don't have that financial education, and someone just preys on you and sells you any kind of financial product just to make a profit. You know that that insurance premium or that investment savings that you're setting that you're setting aside for yourself, that could become a burden. That can become stressful. And for me, that became very stressful. Right, that $155.56, that was stressful. I was paying into that for like 6 months, and then it got to the point where I was thinking to myself, I can't afford this. Like, is this worth it? I just took the time to ask myself that question. Like, is this worth it? Because I'm just paying into this thing, right? So I asked those questions. I did some more research, and I asked somebody who I knew and trusted, like, hey, this is what I have. Is this good for me? And fortunately, the person who I asked was competent enough to tell me, no, it's not for your situation. And I made a change. Now, you want to talk financial stress, right? When you're dealing with somebody who doesn't have any morals, who is only in it to make a quick buck, to take advantage of people, right? When I canceled that insurance plan, I got a call like about 2 days later. The call went almost exactly like this: hey Matthew, why did you cancel your insurance? If you wanted a different plan, you could have just told me. I would have provided it for you. Imagine being on the receiving end of that phone call. Like, for me, I'm like, why? So you could rip me off again? Like, I know I don't know much, but I knew enough to know that this guy was trying to rip me off. And if it was happening to me, it was probably happening to other people, because again, I have mutual, like, it was a friend that referred me to this guy, and I was pretty sure that my friend referred this guy out to a lot of other people. So it was within the realm of possibility that this was not just a one-off occurrence. It was happening to a lot of people. So when I looked into it, I asked different friends, hey, this was my experience with this guy. What was yours? And I said, yeah, it was kind of the same thing. Like, sold me because it's overpriced life insurance. I had to cancel it. So two things happened after that. I realized that I needed to, you know, educate myself financially. I also knew that I had to make sure that I never got ripped off like that again, and make sure that people around me never got ripped off again. So that's kind of how the whole agent of change was born. From that whole experience, right? Um, Now, the other thing, when like you're kind of struggling financially, it can leak into other areas of your life, right? It can put some financial burdens on your home life. It can put some stress on your mental. on your mental health. It can put some. It affects it can even affect your it can even affect how you act physically, right? Because like I mean, um, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who go to the gym on a regular basis. I'm sure there's people who would want to eat healthy or want to eat a certain way. But when you can't afford that financially, or when you can't maintain that financially, like those aspects kind of suffer. Um, you know, if you're constantly worrying about where money's coming from or where money's going to, that can affect you mentally. And when there's a discrepancy in the amount of money that you're bringing in, or that the amount of money that's going out, that could also affect your home life, right? For those who are married, like, you want to make sure that you have your money in order. So you always want to keep those things in check. I mean, I am by no means perfect, but I'm at a place where using my own strategies and the strategies that I've learned over the years, being a financial professional, I've been able to not only help others but even help myself get to a point where I can manage the money that's coming in on a month to month basis, um, be able to pay off some debts, and also grow my income, and also make sure that I'm properly protected, because it all starts with a process. There's always a process when you're looking at things financially. It's like building a house, right? You always want to build your house with a foundation. Like, it makes no sense, building the walls or the roof first, because where are you gonna put it? Where are you gonna set it? Your foundation always has to be solid, and your foundation always starts, with protection. You want to make sure that you have not just life insurance, but the right life insurance for you. And I encourage everyone who's watching this, like, um, talk to a financial advisor, a trusted financial advisor, about what life insurance is right for you, because there's many kinds. There's no one size fits all. There's no one's better than the other. What's best for you is what's best for you, and anybody who tells you otherwise is lying to you. I'm going to tell you that right now. You want to make sure that you have uh, enough life insurance, and the right amount of life insurance. You want to make sure that you have critical illness coverage. You know, cancer, heart attack, strokes, those are the leading causes of death across Canada, and they're only going up. Cancer is like a 1-to-1 that people will get it, and of that, it's a third. It's a third of people who get it will die from it. Unfortunately, those are scary stats. So you want to make sure that you have something that will give you a fighting chance to beat something like that. Um, because the one thing about life insurance is great until you don't die. So you want to make sure that you have that covered as well. And depending on the kind of work you do, having disability coverage is also great to have if it makes sense. But definitely life insurance, critical illness coverage, you want to make sure you have. You want to make sure that you have a will. Anybody who is married or has kids, has any sort of assets, property, whatever, get yourself a will. And if you don't have one, come see me. I can make sure you can get one, and make it affordable for you. That is just my little spiel, because you don't want to leave yourself unprotected if you were to not be here unexpectedly. Definitely get yourself a will. That is a non-negotiable. You want to then make sure that you have a plan to get out of debt as quickly as possible, and pay as little interest as humanly possible. So often people have high interest debts, and they have almost no chance of getting out of those debts. Anything short of declaring bankruptcy. Like there's too many people who declaring bankruptcy or signing or doing consumer proposals. There's other ways to get out of debt before it gets that far. You know, you want to talk to somebody who can help manage that, and if getting a consumer proposal is the step to take. You want to at least put yourself in a position where you can at least liquidate the more manageable debts first. That puts you in a position where you're not in that consumer proposal for a extended period of time, because that stays on your credit record for a good while. You then want to make sure that you're properly saving, you're properly investing. The two are not mutually exclusive. You can save but not necessarily invest. You can invest and not necessarily be saving much. And again, correlating to the debts, some people have high interest debts and low interest savings and investments. That should be the reverse. You should be having high interest savings and investments and low interest debts. And talk to me if you want to understand how that works out for you in the long run. Not gonna get into too much here, but again, there are certain rules that that the banks and those do-it-yourself platforms like Questrade and Wealthsomeone just don't tell you, or just don't have access to. That talking to a financial professional like myself, we can help you out with that. You know, and finally, you want to make sure that you know you have a clear goal, you have a clear dream, because none of that means anything if you don't know what you want to do with outside of things financially. You don't want you have to want to do something with your life. You want to have like for me, I want to be able to go places where a lot of people don't think of going. Like one goal of mine, I want to go to Easter Island. I always tell people that I want to go to Easter Island. Other people like what? Where is that? And it's just a small little remote island off the coast of Chile in South America. I want to go there. Like there is literally nothing to do there but chill at the beach. But I want to go there. They have those Moai statues there. I want to see those. I've always wanted to go there. It's always fascinated me. I've always wanted to go to the places that again people just would not think of going. You know, I want to travel the world. Um, so I have myself set up financially where I can do that. Eventually in the near future, not years and years and years down the road, right? For a lot of people, they go like to the commonplace. They go to Cuba and they go to Belize and all these other places. But these are places that people know about. But still, like if you want to travel and that's your thing, set yourself up financially. Don't go and then come back and you still have like financial responsibilities waiting for you still, and that trip sets you back however much. Like there's you want to be balanced, and when you're balanced, you financially, you get to the point where you can do things and not necessarily think about it. You don't have to be super super rich, but you want to make sure that things are good. um but now, just kind of switch gears. Like, I know that 2020 kind of kicked our butts. So my process, kind of like before the pandemic hit, I was trying to make sure that people were set up in a position where they could, you know, my focus was more on making sure that people were properly insured. Like that was always a big sticking point for me. after the pandemic hit, um, there was a like the one thing that I kept hearing people talk about, especially my clients. The one thing was like, oh well, I need to get out of debt. I need to I like my savings, my investments, like they're tanking. Like I need help with that. Like, and I'm happy to say that a lot of my clients were doing well after the pandemic or post March 2020. Like March and April, they kicked everybody's butts in the markets, but my clients, they were able to actually thrive during that time. So, um, for me, that was kind of my focus, just making sure that people had a more balanced approach when it came to dealing with their finances, right? Making sure they had the best had the best protection for them, making sure that they were able to get out of debt as quickly as possible and paying as little interest as possible, and most importantly, making sure that they had a proper savings plan and making sure they had a proper investment plan that was beating whatever was going on um with the market recline back in March 2020, because a lot of people, unfortunately, they lost a lot of money during that time. A lot of people went through a lot of financial stress during that time. um, I can say with confidence that a lot of my clients, they didn't necessarily, like, it was still a pinch, but it was less stress than if they were elsewhere. So that's kind of where I am, what I've been able to do. That's kind of my story, and that's my recommendation to anybody who's watching this today.
All right. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you for your tips because that's very helpful. Like you mentioned, is like in the pandemic or even before the pandemic, when it comes to our finance, we have to educate ourselves. It starts with having a conversation and
Yes, most
having
definitely.
people like Matthew that you can reach out to talk to start having that conversation about what are my finances, what are my goals, so I can kind of learn of how to save towards those goals. Another thing I remember, even for myself, I went to United Way and I was able to get a financial advisor that way, that was able to help me navigate when I was in the States of trying to figure out what is my financial situations, what I need to do for me and my family. But it comes down to having that conversation,
Yes.
and not feeling ashamed, not feeling like, oh, I'm a burden to somebody, or feeling less than because you may not, your finances may not be where they are. So that was like we want to share this opportunity and this space and also this access of information so that you can see what's next for you financially, so that it can help you to either get out of debt, either save for your future, or even have that life your life insurance, have that insurance also cover for your children, and also like that will, that's important conversation that a lot of people don't talk about and don't realize that's very essential
Of
when it
course.
comes to us. So but before we do well, we're going about to shift gears. So thank you once again, Matthew, for joining iTalk this week on
The
the
pleasure was
conversation.
mine. The pleasure was mine. Thank you for having me.
No problem, no problem. We definitely need to have you in the near future for another conversation, maybe a part two. Um, but it's definitely that with financial stress, that's something we need to talk about because it
Most
affects
definitely.
us really deeply. So yeah, so today, to kind of shift gears, we're going to your do-it-yourself product. And so each week I present to you a different sense of coping skill when it comes to stress. And this week is going to be on taste. So I'm
Yes.
not sure, Matthew, do you have something for us, a tip that when it comes to taste of when it comes to stress?
Surprisingly, I do. And
Okay.
again, like, I had to think about this one a lot because a lot of people like when you told me about this, I'm thinking to myself, well, what does taste have to do with financial stress? But then I got it, and I think this will fit. So again, I came from a food background, right? Um, I love to cook. I worked in restaurants for the better part of my early career. So my little correlation to finances and the sense of taste is whenever you're going out, either to buy food from the grocery store or even going out to eat or going to eat out, if we're ever able to do that again, in a post pandemic world. um, Always think about this: if you can get a better deal and a better quality of deal. So think about. I always look at it like this. Whenever I'm buying something from a grocery store, I'm thinking, okay. I go to Real Canadian Superstore. A lot of people go to, like, say, No Frills or what's it called, Freshco, all these, all those, like, kind of discount stores, right?
Yeah.
But what I noticed is a lot of the times, sometimes, the store that is like a one step above them
Mhm.
actually has better quality items, but a lot of times also the prices are comparable and sometimes even less than the items you're gonna get at those lower tier stores. Don't be afraid to take a step up to get better quality, but don't always compromise quality just because of a dollar. If you can get the best tasting food, and it's gonna cost, if you can get something at No Frills for $1, but you can get the same thing at, say, Superstore for $1.25, spend the extra 25 cents. The reverse of that is also true. if something is as if something is as good quality, or if the quality is not as good, don't get it. But if you find something that is comparatively better, and you can get it for as cheap as possible, definitely get that.
And
Cost is
also
only an issue in the absence of value.
and also
Always.
to add
So
with that is the couponing, this price matching. Don't be afraid to talk to the store clerk if you notice, if there's the same item at one store and the same price at another one. Don't be afraid to price match as
of
well.
course, I use there's an app called Flip. A lot of people like to use flyers. I use Flip because it has all the flyers from all the stores in the area. I use that. I save a lot of money on the groceries that I buy, usually. So and if I can't find it at Superstore, I go to Costco because not only can I find it at Costco, but I can find it in bulk. Always buy things in bulk when you can. Often than not, it's more affordable. The last tip I have: when you can avoid eating out, or when you feel like eating out, ask yourself, can I make this, and can I make this cheaper than I'm paying for
Mhm.
at the restaurant? You want to make sure that you're not always spending unnecessarily. It's okay to treat yourself here and there, but you don't want to always to overspend unnecessarily. You'll be surprised on how much money people spend going out. Um, so yeah, those are my little tips when it comes to taste. I know it's a little bit, I know it's kind of
That's a little
cheating, but
deep. That's a little deep because I know I like to order me a little Uber here and there.
Hey,
Um,
don't get it twisted. So do I. But at the same time, I know I know I can throw it down in the kitchen too. So like the other day I made turkey tacos from scratch. I know if I were to buy tacos from like Taco Bell, me buying one taco would would cost me the same amount that it cost me to buy um buy the stuff to make the tacos with. So it's a no brainer. Like if you're able to make it and make it better than wherever you're eating out at, by all means, definitely save $1, make it yourself. You'll thank yourself, and you'll do your body good too.
thank you, Matthew. I'm going to add some additional tips on taste. So, some of the things that sometimes when we're feeling overwhelmed with our finances is that sometimes we may feel that just racing thoughts, just kind of thinking. I don't can't breathe. Is that more so like into feeling like you're anxious, and
Mm-hmm.
so sometimes we just need to ground ourselves so we can figure out like, okay, how am I going to be planning food? How can I plan to save for food or my budgeting and so forth? That is that some things that, like I said, is affordable or something inaccessible in your home is that taste can you can use taste from like a candy. You can get like a sour jawbreaker. Another one is gum, which is one of my favorite go to, like Excel or anything that kind of keep you focused. And by just realizing the taste and just kind of focusing on that taste and bringing down that breathing, so you can do whatever the next thing that you have to do. Like for example, if you're about to start doing your taxes because it's that tax season, but also is the budgeting when it comes couponing, if it comes from looking at flyers, looking on Flip, looking at different things, go on Cookie Network, go on Hello Fresh. By the way, thank you very much for that.
No problem.
But is that kind of help you to sit down to think and kind of bring that breathing down before you do the next thing. Another thing I like is also tea, hot drink, coffee. I whatever you may like that is tasting good. Some especially
Listen,
with
I
like
cannot I cannot overstate the importance of
yes,
drinking tea,
yes,
especially especially when you're dealing with finances. You have no idea how much that will actually calm yourself down and be like, okay, now I can look
good.
at these statements. Now I can look at what's going on here. Now I can look at my budget.
Right. Because you could have some chamomile tea or even peppermint. And even preparing, while you're preparing for the tea, is that, like, for example, you have this time to prepare this tea of going to go find the bag of the tea bag, going to boil the hot water, fetch the water, watch the hot water boil, and then also just watching the tea brew is and just waiting down to the temperature of your liking. Because when you do that, that's like, even though it may be 20, 30 minutes, but that's 20, 30 minutes of you just focusing on one thing and bringing down your breathing and bringing down your mind so you can get ready to do what's next, like, for example, budgeting, as far as doing taxes, as far as couponing, flipping, whatever. Another
And just to add to that too, Stace, it's not even just it's just not only the preparation, but again, depending on the tea of your choice. Like for me, I love cinnamon spice and herb tea.
ooh,
So the aromatic effects of the tea brings
right,
another level of calmness, of soothing. Um, um,
right,
so you want to that alone will help kind of be like and just bring you back to, okay, let me focus on whatever it is that I need to focus on. So yes, again, never underestimate the importance of tea.
so actually your type of tea choice is actually going into my Young Living oil for the week. So this one is called Christmas Spirit. And Christmas Spirit is a mixture of like orange, it has cinnamon bark, and spruce. And what it does, it gives you that nice, calm feeling because I like to use this my diffuser a lot because it what it does, it helps you, especially oranges is known for a happy oil. And what it does is it kind of give you that space of like remembrance of remembering of when your childhood, if you into Christmas or into the holiday season, you smelling all these goodies around you when you're going through the subway, in the stores or boarding station or downtown, going through the holiday market, you will smell all these different scents.
Yes.
And also, with the scents is that it helps not only like it not only you can use it in a diffuser, but you could also put it in your dry for like a dryer, clothes on your dryer. um Also, you can add it to your vacuum cleaner bag if some still use vacuum cleaner bags. You could also use it in a carrier oil, like I said, is the olive oil or coconut oil or one of the oils to kind of, you could put it on your body, give yourself a nice body massage. Also, they say is um, they have some people even using your tea because, like you mentioned about the your special spice, orange spice tea, is that
Cinnamon and spice.
cinnamon spice? Yes, is that it gives you, like you said, it's giving you that nice warm feeling. And especially, I noticed some snowflakes coming down shortly ago through my windows, that especially on a day like this kind of put you back in a nice holiday season because this is January and we're getting through like their coldest months, and just kind of giving us of a nice warm winter memory that we will always enjoy. But it's definitely is that um with the oils, like I said, it's just helpful of when you just need to focus on what is next. It kind of helps you to ground yourself by focusing on that scent, which I talked about, which I'm actually going to follow up more next week on iTalk with Vera when we talk about coping with stress. So before before we leave, just want to remind everybody next week is the last part of the series on stress. We are going to be talking about coping with stress with Vera. Please keep sending in me those questions. I'm enjoying reading these questions. And please, when you send these questions, you have a chance to win a prize. And I will announce who is the winner next week for of for the winner of iTalk for the series on stress.
Awesome.
Just so also be tuned for next week. It may be set up this way as well, to meet with Vera. Just be tuned to our interview on coping with stress. And also, before I forget, today's outfit was styled by Amelia Stylist, and the style was picked from Fashion Boulevard. Thank you very much. And please check out both Amelia Stylist and also Fashion Boulevard on Instagram as well for their latest looks. Just want to remind everybody that just remind yourself to do one thing each day for you, because we need to take care of ourselves, especially through this pandemic. For us to make it through, is that we need to make sure we keep ourselves first and keeping ourselves healthy. Like I said, is our mind and our body, and we got to make sure that both is okay. So I'm going to say goodbye to everybody, and I wish everyone a good, happy week. So
Of
thank you, Matthew,
course.
once again for joining in with us
No
today on
worries.
iTalk.
And for everybody who is watching, again, you can if you again if you do want to have a conversation about how you can combat your financial stress, definitely give me a shout. You can reach me on Facebook. Just my name, Matthew Allman. That's Mattthew. Last name is Allman. Um, you can reach me on Instagram at AOCnetwork. On my website www.aocnetwork.ca, or you can call at 647-424-1500. And just to kind of add on, this just actually came to my head, triggered because you said you were doing a giveaway. So for anybody who's watching on Facebook right now today, anyone who's watching this or catching the replay on Facebook, Um, Anybody who leaves a like and a comment and shares this with a friend, you'll be entered to win a prize. I'm not gonna announce what the prize is right now because I literally just came up with it on the spot. But anybody who likes, shares, and comments on this video either right now or on the replay, you'll be entered to win a special prize.
Ooh,
The winner will be announced on Wednesday when I do my Wealth Wednesday talk. So definitely tune in for that. The winner will be announced there. Definitely follow Stacy at I_talk905 on Instagram. Stacy, thank you for having me out here.
no
It was a
problem. Thank you.
pleasure. And for everybody who's watching on Facebook, again, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. And again, let's keep the conversation going. Let's reduce our financial stress. Let's reduce stress in general. But yes, definitely anybody who wants to take a part of that giveaway, again, like, comment, share, and the winner will be announced on Wednesday at 7 p.m. for my Wealth Wednesday video. Be there, and yeah, take it. For everybody else, take care.
All right, peace. See y'all.